Hi, it's Luke Adel. You might know me from somewhere else. I don't know. So our group did our first civic action on homelessness in Sacramento, specifically providing the homeless with permanent housing. So starting from the beginning, we were in class. We didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't know what CAP even stood for initially. We had 4 members in our group, and we did see that homelessness was a problem in Sacramento. So as our project continued, we lost a member of our group, and we saw that homelessness was going to be hard to make change in. Still, we pushed forward through it, and still we weren't really sure what our path was going to be, but we made do with what we had. We had a lot of struggles throughout the project. After our first civic action, we saw that this problem was incredibly complicated. It was going to be hard to do anything with it, so we had to find ways that we could. We set up more interviews, we made a Twitter account at the end trying to make change, and honestly I think it worked out very well. So starting it off, in the thinking it through, we just had to gather a ton of information. We looked up plenty of websites. There had been a lot of new stuff out about homelessness because of the nearly $100 million that Steinberg got for the Continuum of Care program. So there was a lot of information on that. We studied that, and then going into Civic Action 1, we had plenty of information. So without further ado, here's our first Civic Action.
We got really lucky. So we were doing our CAP proposal in Starbucks, and there was another CAP group there actually. I think Keelan was part of it. And Ryan sees someone that he knows that walks in, and apparently she works for City Hall. So within the week, we talked to them about it, and she sets up a meeting for us at City Hall here. Right here's the old City Hall, and here's the new one. So we actually had the meeting in the new City Hall, and we met with Jacob Beitel, the Deputy Communications Assistant for Mayor Steinberg, and he answered a lot of our questions we had about homelessness. So we had done a lot of research before, we had made questions and stuff, but he knew everything about it. So every question we had, he had an answer to, and a little more than we needed some of the time. Getting here, I was super nervous because I had made questions, but I didn't know if my questions were good enough. But that's just how it is. And getting up here and parking, I never really parked downtown before, and it was really bad. But I made it work. And then I got in here, we got it going, we asked questions, and it ended up working really well. For our second civic action, we talked to Miss Copus from Family Promise, and she actually works at Family Promise at St. Anthony's Parish, where we are right now. So Family Promise is a private organization. It's run through a lot of parishes, and it works to move specifically homeless families into permanent housing. So with her, she told us about Family Promise, and from it we got more of how a private organization works compared to from our first civic action, a more public one like the city. And I think our biggest problem in this was just finding someone to talk to. Eventually, my mom actually works here, so I was able to find someone to talk to with it. I talked to my mom, and then she hooked us up with someone. So that made it a little bit easier, but it was hard initially to find someone to talk to. And I think that was our biggest problem.
So for our third civic action, we made a Twitter account to raise awareness of the solutions to homelessness in Sacramento. So I know before our civic actions, we saw that there were a lot of not only problems with homelessness, but solutions, like permanent housing, the tent cities, stuff like that. So with this, we put up several polls to see if people actually knew of different ways to end homelessness. Because during our first and second civic actions, we actually discovered that permanent housing, putting homeless people in permanent housing, and assigning them a case manager was the best way to do this. We had a couple struggles in doing this. We started really late, and that hurt us a lot. We actually had to turn in the assignment late and use a late pass, and it was kind of frustrating. But we did it, and I was happy that we got through it. Other than that, I thought it went pretty smooth. We actually got a response back from one of the people we tweeted at, and I was happy to see that someone was listening to us and saw that maybe we were making a little bit of change or doing a little bit of something to help with homelessness. So there's all my civic actions, all done, 1, 2, and 3. Overall, I feel like we did really good on the project. It was difficult, it was time consuming, it was hard to work through, hard to not procrastinate on, but we made it, got all our civic actions done, we did it, and I'm happy. I don't feel like we made a whole lot of change through our civic actions, but still getting the response back on Twitter kind of made me happy because I know somebody's listening about it. Other than that, like I said, I feel really good about it, and thank you for listening.